On June 9, 2016, a 3-year-old girl was found wandering barefoot through a Baton Rouge parking lot. Blood was on her feet. Her mother was nowhere to be found. What the child said next would help solve the murder of her pregnant mother and expose a secret affair that ended in a tragedy. On the morning of June 9, 2016, Leslie Parms, 3, was leaving the parking lot of his office on Newcastle Avenue off South Sherwood Forest Boulevard in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Mr. Parms discovered a 3-year-old little girl standing near the parking lot entrance holding a pillow. The parking lot was across the street from an apartment complex. Mr. Parms did not see any signs of an adult nearby. He asked the little girl where her mother was. When she did not respond, he immediately called 911. He told the 911 operator that the little girl was by herself and she had dried blood on her foot. When he asked her again where her mother was or if she knew where her mother's car was, the little girl led him to a blue Toyota Corolla. When he looked inside, he was horrified to find blood on the front seat of the car and a sizable amount of blood all over the back seat. The little car then told Mr. Parms that Mr. Robbie did that blood. He asked her again where her mother was. She then stated that my mommy was going to sleep with Mr. Robbie. Now all of this was recorded on the 911 call. Police arrived on scene and quickly called for Special Victims Unit, which investigates sex crimes, child abuse cases, and missing persons. Detective Jonathan Medine of the Special Victims Unit of the Baton Rouge Police Department responded to the call. Also responding to the call was Detective Stephen Woodring of the Homicide Division of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Detective Woodring became the primary investigator of the case. The police determined that the blue Toyota Corolla was registered to Ms. Lyntell Washington. Lyntell Washington was a 40-year-old educator in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She was loved by her students at Brookstown Middle Magnet Academy. Lyntell was a single mother raising her 3-year-old daughter. She was popular among school staff and students and was once even named Teacher of the Year at a previous school. Friends described her as being devoted to her child and focused on providing a good life for her. She began a secret relationship with the assistant principal, Mr. Robert Marks. Marks was married, but according to friends he told Washington he was separated from his wife and headed to a divorce, but they were still living in the same home. He did say that there was this 2-story house and the wife was upstairs and he was downstairs. The relationship became more complicated when Lyntell learned she was pregnant with Mark's child. A week before she went missing, she revealed the news to a friend, Jamisha Payne, who was another Brookstown assistant principal. Lyntell later learned that Marks was not actually getting a divorce. According to testimony from her friends, she discovered he had recently been on a cruise with his wife. She told Jamisha that she was going to let his wife know what was going on. Lyntell found out that Marks was not getting divorced and in fact was on a cruise with his wife. According to her friend Melissa Mason, the news made Lyntell furious. She sent text messages to Marks demanding he tell her the truth and wanted to know if he was committed to supporting her and their child. Marks and Lyntell met up later that night. According to police, once finding out that the Toyota Corolla was registered to Lyntell and called Brookstown Middle Magnet Academy. As a result of the telephone call, Jamisha Payne went to Lyntell's apartment. When she arrived, she saw police cars and Lyntell's vehicle in a parking lot on the side of the apartment complex where she lived. Jamisha told police officers that she knew Lyntell and her daughter. The police allowed the daughter to go with Jamisha. The 3-year-old told Ms. Jamisha that Mr. Robbie had hurt her mommy. Jamisha told police that Lyntell had forwarded text messages to her that were between Lyntell and Marks. The text messages included evidence of Marks trying to escape the responsibility of the baby. Jamisha also told Detective Medine that both Lyntell and Marks worked at the same school, and neither one of them showed up at school that morning. Later that same day, Jamisha brought the little girl to the Children's Advocacy Center, CAC, where she was interviewed. The 3-year-old told the interviewer that Mr. Robbie had put the blood in Lyntell's car. She also indicated she saw her mother get hurt. When asked who hurt her, she replied, Mr. Robbie. Toward the end of the interview, she was asked if she saw Mr. Robbie hurt her mom. She replied, "Yes, ma'am." The urgency at this point was to locate Lyntell. Detective Woodring retrieved a cell phone from Lyntell's apartment and found a number for Robert. Detective Woodring obtained a search warrant for the contents of Robert's phone. Police found in his web history searches from the Robert's cell phone revealed a May 20, 2016, Google search for a pregnant shot, as well as an online search for a rifle. The web history also showed a May 28, 2016, Google search for injection of Clorox and what would happen if you injected bleach into your bloodstream. On May 29, 2016, a Google search was conducted for failure to appear for paternity test, and I missed my court date for paternity test for child support. Can they order me to pay? Child does not have my last name. The police also recovered the defendant's iPad. A forensic examination of his iPad's web history revealed a May 24, 2016, search for a large-caliber handgun and a May 28, 2016, search for whether a father had to pay child support without his name on the birth certificate. On June 9, 2016, Robert was brought in for questioning. He admitted to his relationship with Lyntell and told Detective Woodring that he had last seen Lyntell the previous night, which was June 8, 2016, at the Walmart in Baker, Louisiana, where he talked to her, then left. He then stated that he went to Twin Peaks restaurant. The police reviewed hours of video footage from Twin Peaks for the night of June 8, 2016, which revealed that he never went there. Police discovered on June 8, 2016 at 8:19 p.m. Lyntell called Robert's cell phone from an area near the Baker Walmart. Robert was in the vicinity and received the call. The data suggested that they rode together in Lyntell's car to the Scotlandville area in Baton Rouge. From there, they traveled west across the Mississippi River on the old Mississippi River Bridge and into Iberville Parish to the Rama area. Both phones then traveled back towards Baton Rouge. Lyntell's cell phone registered for the last time in the area around the LSU Lakes. The cell phone further showed that Robert placed a call from his cell phone at 11:35 p.m. in Newcastle, Sherwood Forest area. Tramica Jackson was the woman he called that night. She testified at the trial that in June of 2016, she and Robert were in an intimate relationship. She also testified that on the morning of June 8, 2016, she and Robert made plans for her to pick him up later that night from hanging out with his friends. She received a call from Robert around 11:30 p.m. and picked him up on Newcastle Avenue near the intersection of Sherwood Forest Boulevard. She noticed that he had his motorcycle gear on, which was a dark leather jacket, jeans, boots, gloves, and a helmet. She dropped him off at his motorcycle, which was located across the street from Baker Walmart. Video footage from a Hancock Whitney Bank located off Newcastle and Sherwood showed Ms. Jackson picking up Robert, who was walking on Newcastle, at 11:37 p.m. on June 8, 2016. Robert was arrested on June 10, 2016. While he was in jail, he called his sister and asked her to erase his iPad and Apple Watch. On June 14, 2016, the body of a pregnant female was found in a drainage ditch at the edge of a sugarcane field off of Rosedale Road in Grosse Tete, Louisiana, in the area where the cell phone data indicated that Robert's and Lyntell's cell phones had traveled on that night of June 8, 2016. The body was later identified as that of Lyntell Washington. The coroner, Dr. William Bo Clark, determined that the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. Dr. Clark testified that the baby died because it was still in utero when Lyntell was murdered. It was confirmed through DNA that Robert was the father of the unborn child. The trial started on December 13, 2021. Prosecutors argued that Marks murdered Lyntell because she was 7 months pregnant with his child and had recently learned that he had lied about divorcing his wife. One of the most emotional moments came when jurors heard details from the child's witness. Investigators testified that the little girl described hearing a loud bang and later said, "Mr. Robbie put the blood in my car." Prosecutors argued that her statements were a crucial piece of the puzzle that helped identify Marks as the killer. The defense argued that the case was largely circumstantial and challenged the state's interpretation of the evidence. However, the defense did not call any witnesses during the trial. After closing arguments, the jury deliberated only about 30 to 35 minutes before returning guilty verdicts on all charges. Marks was convicted of second-degree murder, first-degree feticide, second-degree kidnapping, aggravated kidnapping of a child, obstruction of justice, carjacking, and multiple firearm-related charges. In February 2022, Robert Marks was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for murdering Lyntell Washington. Additional sentences were imposed for the other convictions. In the end, prosecutors said it wasn't one piece of evidence that convicted Robert Marks. It was the complete picture. As this case came to a close, the jury needed only a short time to reach its decision. Robert Marks was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for Lyntell Washington's family, no verdict could undo what happened on June 8, 2016. Lyntell was more than a headline. She was a devoted mother, a respected educator, a daughter, a friend, and a woman preparing to welcome another child into the world. Her life was taken, but her story continues to be remembered. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this case is that a 3-year-old little girl lost both her mother and unborn sister in a single act of violence. Yet it was that same little girl whose words helped investigators uncover the truth. Nearly a decade later, Lyntell's name is still remembered across Louisiana not because of how she died, but because of the life she lived and the people she touched. Justice for Lyntell Washington and her unborn daughter. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching.